Well, hello there. It's been quite a while since I made a new video. I haven't bought a ton of stuff recently, but I did finally get some money on the old account, so I couldn't help myself, ordered a couple of movies. I've been going over more to digital HD recently too, so maybe I will start to replace these in the future with a digital HD video where I just talk about the stuff that I've bought digitally. So far, it's still physical media. Starting with the Ultimate Laika Collection. This is really cool. I've been wanting something like this for a long time now. If you're not familiar with Laika, Laika is an animation studio that makes stop motion animated films. And this is a collection of all of their major movies so far. You got Coraline, Paranorman, The Box Trolls, and Kubo and the Two Strings, which was the latest movie that they released. If you haven't seen any of these movies, I highly recommend watching them, checking them out. Coraline is just amazing. Kubo and the Two Strings is really beautiful. Fantastic animation, great stories, great storytelling, great family films, but they can be a little bit darker too. So I would recommend watching Coraline or Kubo with the youngest children. But I've loved their movies ever since I first saw Coraline. I loved Kubo and the Two Strings. And I've never actually seen The Box Trolls before, so it's going to be really cool to finally check that out. Paranorman is also a cool movie. It's kind of a monster movie. Great for Halloween. One thing that I had no idea about is the fact that all of the first three movies, Coraline, Paranorman, and The Box Trolls, come on Blu-ray 3D discs. So if you have a 3D television, you can watch those in 3D as well. So that's a cool bonus as well. So yeah, that is the Ultimate Laika Collection. Coraline, Paranorman, The Box Trolls, and Kubo and the Two Strings. I think Coraline and Kubo in particular are really great. But I haven't seen The Box Trolls yet, so I can't. But I'm sure it's going to be at least decent, because they never make movies that are anything less than solid, I think. Paranorman is okay. It's not my personal favorite, but still worth checking out. Alright, and this is awesome. Been looking forward to this for a long time. This is the extended cut of the 2013 remake of Evil Dead by Fede Alvarez. I love this remake. I've loved it ever since I saw it 4 years ago, and they are finally, after 4 years, putting out the extended cut on Blu-ray. We knew that this movie existed in an extended format all the way since we saw the original movie, since we saw the theatrical cut, because there was a lot of stuff in those trailers that was not in the movie. And I see that trend a lot these days. Trailers are usually amazing, and then they cut a lot of the good stuff out of the actual movie, and it's just a disappointment every single time. But here it is, finally. No more bootlegs from German television. This is the legitimate extended cut. Finally, it's going to be really cool to check this out again. Scenes that have been reinstated into this include the sort of nursery rhyme, the "we're gonna get you" moment, which is crazy to me that they didn't include that in the theatrical cut to begin with, because it's such a classic Evil Dead moment. But now it's back. And there's also a scene where David heads into the work shed with the chainsaw to cut up a body. And you see that shot in the trailer where he's just drenched in blood holding the chainsaw. And that was not in the theatrical cut, but it's finally back in the extended cut. So yeah, I was scourging the internet for this for 4 years. Came across some kind of German bootleg, and I had that German bootleg for a while, but there you go. This is finally the proper extended cut on Blu-ray. I think the Blu-ray disc is almost exactly the same as the theatrical cut, so if you've had this on Blu-ray before, you know exactly what kind of special features you can expect. I think it's pretty much identical. There you go. I think that's pretty much the exact same. I might be wrong, but I'm fairly sure. I'm gonna double check just to be sure, but yeah. Anyway, that is the extended cut of Evil Dead. I really like this remake a lot. I think it's awesome. I love the tone of it, the mood of it, the gore, the over-the-top violence, the homages to the original. All that stuff is really, really cool. I also picked up Planet Earth 2. Planet Earth is, of course, a nature documentary that I think a lot of people are familiar with. It's from BBC, the British network, narrated by David Attenborough. Most people have probably heard of or seen the original Planet Earth already. If you haven't, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a beautiful, exquisitely narrated journey that takes you all the way across our planet. You get to see how animals live and procreate and survive. You get to see beautiful natural phenomena. It really captures the beauty, the fragility, the exquisiteness of our planet in stunning high definition. And as if the original wasn't beautiful enough, this is shot in 4K. So if the day comes, and I hope it does come one day, when I upgrade to a 4K television, I want to sell this Blu-ray set and get the actual 4K set and check it out. The first Planet Earth was actually one of the first Blu-rays I ever bought. It was a box set with another show called Life. And if you haven't seen those, I highly, highly recommend checking them out. It's a 10-episode series that covers all manner of animals, locations, environments, and it is just breathtakingly beautiful. You've never seen our planet captured on film like this, I guarantee it. And it's really like soothing for the soul too. Like if you need to kind of, I don't know, regain your faith in humanity, then watch Planet Earth and just grab a cup of tea and relax and enjoy what you're seeing, because it's a feast for the eyes and a feast for the soul. So I've always really enjoyed this series. I think it's amazing. Also picked up the original Ghost in the Shell and Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence in this Blu-ray 2-pack. I already had a version of the original Ghost in the Shell, but it was an altered version called Ghost in the Shell 2.0. So I wanted the original unaltered 1995 animated film, and that is what is included here. And then you have the sequel, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, from 2004, I believe. I also watched the Scarlett Johansson remake recently, and I have to say I was actually pleasantly surprised. I liked that movie a lot. It's not as good as the original, not by far, but it was a very good movie for what it was. Like, I wasn't going in expecting a Japanese movie. I was expecting an American movie. And what they did was basically make a prequel to Ghost in the Shell. They took out the philosophical aspects of it, and they replaced it more with ethical questions. So this one is more about what am I, or do I exist at all, in the original. And in that one is more about who am I? Who am I? What is my past? How did I get here? And I really appreciated that. I thought it was a really cool action movie, beautifully photographed, and they really paid a lot of respect to the original while still making it their own thing. So I like that movie. But nothing can beat the original. The original is a masterpiece of animation, in my opinion. Gorgeous, thought-provoking film, and it was one of those films that really, really introduced anime and the concept of adult animation to the entire Western world, pretty much. I mean, Akira did it too, and a lot of other movies as well, but I think this was one of the ones that just knocked our socks off when we were young and watching it on VHS. The sequel is pretty good too. I enjoy the sequel. It's not quite as good as the first one. There's a very big over-reliance on CGI in the second one, and the story is just not as good. The second one doesn't focus on the Major. It focuses more on Bateau, her partner. The story is just not as good. I mean, I still enjoy it. It still has a lot of interesting, thought-provoking themes. But the first one is always the best. The original classic 1995 Ghost in the Shell, unaltered, unchanged, will always be the best. I found that the first one was more about the implications of if you're an android, do you still have life? And the second one was sort of the opposite. It was more about can life be created from technology? Whereas this was more like, can life exist within a technological world, so to speak. But yeah, well worth checking out, both of them. But I think the original is still the very best. So If you're going to check out any version of Ghost in the Shell, please make sure it's the original 1995 anime, unaltered, untouched, and then go from there. That's my advice. Also picked up some music films. The Beatles are on the map again. They are releasing a 50th anniversary edition of Sgt. Pepper's this month, and I'm celebrating by reviewing all of their albums and listening to them properly, some of them for the first time ever. And I couldn't help myself. I pre-ordered both the Sgt. Pepper's Deluxe box set and Help on Blu-ray. Help is one of my favorite Beatles albums. It ranks among the top 5, maybe even top 3 for me. And I thought, if I'm gonna be doing this properly, if I'm gonna go through their entire discography and go through the music and enjoy it to its fullest potential, then I want to see Help again, because it's also my favorite Beatles movie. I've seen all of their movies, and I think this is the one that's just the most straightforward, so to speak. A Hard Day's Night is also fairly straightforward, but this is just kind of a James Bond parody. And it's basically just a series of music videos, so to speak, that are sort of put to film and stitched together. But the music is fantastic, and I wanted to see it remastered on Blu-ray, hear that gorgeous surround sound. Probably the best mixes of the songs that you can hear to date. If you don't count Love or the 1+ Blu-ray, which is also fantastic. But anyway, it's just going to be fun to revisit Help again. I think this Blu-ray has been out for something like 10 years already, pretty sure, because I read the year 2007 somewhere on this. I might be wrong, but yeah. Comes in this little sort of miniature, well, what do you want to call it? Miniature digibook, I guess, with a slipcase. So a very, very nice edition. I'm sure I won't be disappointed by this. And there are some pretty cool bonus features to dig into as well. There you go. So yeah, I find that it's kind of 50-50 with people. Some people don't like the Beatles at all. Some people like them a lot. Some people love them. I like them. I like them a lot. I think some albums are better than others. I like Help. I like Abbey Road. I like Rubber Soul a lot. But it's all subjective. Speaking of the Beatles and the whole Beatles month that I'm doing, or months, I'm also seeing about maybe getting an Xbox 360 again. And maybe scoring another copy of the Beatles Rock Band, because I realized I had an old Rock Band 3 guitar that's not being used, just gathering dust. I'm not doing anything with it. I have some money, and I really want to play that game again, because that game was fucking amazing. Like, that was awesome. Same with Guitar Hero Metallica, actually. I'm going to see if I can score that too, but yeah. Anyway, that is Help by the Beatles. Speaking of music films, also picked up another classic, Pink Floyd's The Wall on DVD. This one has never been released on Blu-ray so far. I'm not quite sure why it has never been released on Blu-ray. But the fact that I just bought this probably means that it will be released on Blu-ray, and I'm guessing it'll probably be released in exactly 2 years, because that'll be the 40th anniversary of this album, I think. I think it came out in 1979, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 40th anniversary edition in the year 2019. But yeah, I wanted to watch this again so badly that I picked up the DVD. I listened to the album again, and I understand why it's considered a masterpiece, why this is considered a timeless, amazing album. Because it is. It's such an ingenious idea. It's such a great concept album that I just couldn't, it's just irresistible. I find myself, I can relate a lot to the themes of this album, and I think a lot of people can too. I'll read the synopsis here. If you've never listened to the album The Wall or seen the movie, I'll read the synopsis. The story of The Wall is told simply with the music of Pink Floyd, images and natural effect. There's no conventional dialogue to progress the narrative. Our story is about Pink, a rock and roll performer who sits locked in a hotel room somewhere in Los Angeles. Too many shows, too much dope, too much applause, a burned out case. On the TV, an all too familiar war film flickers on the screen. We shuffle time and place, reality and nightmare, As we venture into Pink's painful memories, each one a brick in the wall he's gradually built around his feelings. Slowly he withdraws from the real world and slips further into his nightmares as he imagines himself as unfeeling demagogue for whom all that is left is the demonstration of power over his unthinking audience, the culmination of the odious excess of his own world and the world around him. His internal self-trial that follows as the witnesses of his past life, the very people who have contributed to the building of the wall, come forward and testify against him. So yeah, pretty heavy stuff, but very cool. This is a deluxe DVD edition featuring new high-definition film transfer from the original widescreen interpositive, previously unreleased film footage, remastered 5.1 Dolby Digital and surround encoded PCM stereo soundtracks from the original master tapes. The Other Side of the Wall, a 25-minute documentary about the making of the film. Running commentary from Roger Waters and Gerald Scarfe. A new 45-minute documentary with interviews with Roger Waters, Gerald Scarfe, Alan Parker, Peter Bisu, Alan Marshall, and James Guthrie. Original film trailer and production stills, newly designed interactive venue, subtitles, scene song selection, and secret buttons. Technical sound system setup guide. So yeah, this is a visual and just auditory marvel. It is a real mind trip, a real experience. It's heavy. It goes deep. It's a very psychological journey, and it can be disturbing and troubling, to say the least. But it's a very interesting, fascinating, clever album, and with the visuals, it's even more powerful, in my opinion. So, The Wall is just one of those timeless masterpieces. I just couldn't resist. I knew I had to see this again. I thought, why not just get the DVD? So here it is. That's The Wall. So yeah, Pink Floyd's The Wall on DVD. A bit more lighthearted, we had the Beatles' Help on Blu-ray. Double pack of Ghost in the Shell and Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. Planet Earth 2, the beautiful sequel to the magnificent BBC television program. Evil Dead Extended Cut. We finally got our extended cut of the Evil Dead remake after 4 years of waiting. And finally, the Ultimate Laika Collection, a collection of 4 movies from the Laika Stop Motion Studios, which I highly recommend for the entire family. Maybe not the youngest children, but maybe like if they're 10, 11, 12, they can watch this. And the cool thing about these movies is that adults can definitely watch these and enjoy them as well. Sadly, Kubo didn't make that much money at the box office, but check it out. Check it out on digital HD, check it out on Blu-ray, rent it, whatever. Give it a chance. Watch the movie at least once. And I think people will be positively surprised. I think they'll be shocked at how good these movies are, and they'll be like, why the hell didn't I give this a chance earlier? So yeah, a great alternative to Disney and Pixar, or a compliment to Disney and Pixar rather, because they stand on their own. So that's the Ultimate Laika Collection, and that is my little Blu-ray update for today. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will catch you in the future.